Hey, Snoop, I'm glad that you're gonna be on that No Limit doc too, man, because I feel like that's a part of your life that doesn't get told enough.
Man, do you realize that saved my life? Like, Master P saved my life. I was gonna put an album out called Fuck Death Row. And Mac 10 was gonna give me $1 million to put it out. It was gonna be on Who Bangin' Records.
No.
It's the mid-1990s, and Snoop Dogg has already become a household name in the hip-hop community, thanks to his work with Dr. Dre and his debut solo album, Doggy Style. Doggy Style was a game-changer that signaled a seismic shift in hip-hop, and in its first week, the LP sold over 806,000 copies worldwide, making it the biggest-selling debut album at the time upon its release, and sent out a very dominant message that Snoop Dogg was here to stay. However, despite his success, Snoop found himself entangled in a web of legal troubles and a dangerous feud with his then record label, Death Row Records. Suge Knight, the infamous CEO of Death Row Records, is known for his strong-arm tactics and violent reputation.
Another story like that happened like that. I never met Suge Knight, right? And so you hear all this Suge Knight, and I don't care what they say. I didn't grow up with Suge Knight. You worked for the source. So you, my man, I will let you state your opinion on this, because you was around, right? They was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified of Suge Knight.
Right.
I mean, terrified.
I know.
No, to death.
To death.
As things deteriorated between Snoop and Suge, Snoop's life became in real danger. The relationship between Snoop and Knight would sour within a few years of working together, and their beef eventually led to death threats for Snoop. Death Row was notorious for employing known gang members, and Knight had a reputation for handling his business affairs with violence or threats of violent acts. According to reports, he tried his hardest to intimidate his artists into doing what he wanted at all costs. Hip Hop Wired revealed in a 2019 analysis of Snoop and Knight's relationship that Snoop grew tired of Knight's violent tendencies, especially after Snoop was acquitted of murder in 1996. The rapper began exploring ways to detach himself from the label and the fear that surrounded it, and began growing distant from Knight. The death of Tupac Shakur only intensified Snoop's desire to make a change, both personally and in terms of his environment. While Snoop was just getting on the tail end of his deal with Death Row, he would head to Master P's No Limit Records studio to record a song on Mystikal's album titled Gangstas. Snoop then told Master P he wanted $3,500 for the song, but instead Master P gave him $35,000. And from that point on, Snoop and Master grew a liking to each other.
Mystikal had a song called Gangsta Shit on his album, and he wanted me on it.
And I was like, man, look, what you need?
And I told him I wanted $3,500, because I was broke and I was just like, could he get some money? P gave me a check for $35,000. All right, he put another zero on that motherfucker. It's my kind of nigga.
At the time, Snoop was working with Mac 10, who offered him $1 million for an exclusive project, and after working together for a while, they both built a strong working relationship. And because of this, Snoop decided to tell Mac 10 about the exclusive project he was working on, and that project was the F Death Row album. Then one day, while Snoop was in Master P's office to receive a check from him, Master P asked him what he was working on at that time. Snoop told him he was working on an album called F Death Row, but Master P then warned him that he wouldn't live to see that album out.
So now he called me to his office. He said, what you working on? I said, I got this album called Fuck Death Row. This motherfucker hard. He like, hold on, bro. He closed the door. That nigga like, man, you ain't gonna live to see that album come out. He said, don't do that, bro. You can't make no record talking about Death Row and Suge, man. You gotta let that shit go, man.
In retrospect, Snoop agreed that the Death Row album was a bad idea and would have caused mass destruction. Because of Snoop's tumultuous and dying relationship with Death Row and his growing relationship with Master P, he thought since Knight was arrested and sentenced to 9 years in prison, he found it to be the perfect opportunity to switch labels. So they both came to a decision that Snoop should sign to No Limit. But the only thing in their way was Suge Knight.
Death Row had to sell Snoop to keep the business rolling. No Limit, we could make a business move like that.
I remember saying, you sure you want to deal with Suge? He's like, well, he's got guns, we've got guns, who cares?
I've never been afraid of no man, you know.
So P goes to Mule Creek Prison.
I I met with Suge Knight and said, look, man, what you want for Snoop? I heard that you got a deal on the table.
They had a conversation. They got to understand it. Worked out some numbers.
Told me what it was. And I put an extra $200,000 or $300,000 on it. And that was it.
Master P then met with Knight in jail to work out a deal for Snoop that was said to be worth around $3 million, which made Suge agree, and the deal became official, making Snoop a no-limit soldier. He signed with Master P's No Limit Records while Knight was in jail and spoke negatively of his experiences working with Knight publicly afterward. Master P not only provided Snoop with a new record label, but he also offered him protection and guidance, helping him navigate the treacherous waters of the music industry. As for why he left Death Row, Snoop once told a reporter during an interview that it was all because of Knight.
I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God, Master P put a deal together. I signed, they signed, Suge signed, and it's official like a referee with a whistle. Snoop Dogg's a no-limit soldier.
After signing Snoop to No Limit, Master P convinced him to change his environment and moved him from Los Angeles to Mississippi, where he could get away from Knight and bad company, see his family, and start all over. Master P then took Snoop and family to New Orleans and told him to pick out a house because at the time, Snoop's home and cars were all under Death Row co-founder Suge Knight's name.
He's like, nah, give me a couple days. A couple days went by, flew me, Marv, Daz, and my father to New Orleans. And nigga, Master P drove me to a community, nigga, a gated community, and nigga said, pick a house.
Yeah.
Like that, nigga.
We gonna do this
We
right.
ain't gonna do no music, nigga, pick a house.
We need to live.
Nigga, my daddy was in the car, my daddy was in the backseat like, back, nigga.
But it's only right.
Used to it, nigga. We finna get into some money.
Yeah.
Let's sit back.
Yeah.
That nigga plugged me up, cuz. Bought me the house, put it in my name. Took me to the dealership. Me and my wife. That's why I love this nigga forever. Took me and my wife. Told my wife, go pick out what you want. She picked out the little SUV kind of truck. Picked out me one of the matching trucks. Woo, woo, woo. Signed it in our names. Paid for it. Woo. Got to the house. What kind of gun you like, bro? Man, I mean, I don't really, but what kind of gun you like? Give me the 9. Give me the that.
Tensions were high on the West Coast when it was announced that Snoop Doggy Dogg was officially joining No Limit Records, now under the shortened Snoop Dogg moniker. Master P also gave Knight points on Snoop's next 3 albums under the No Limit Priority umbrella. It was a sweet deal for Suge, but it was also the freedom and rebirth Snoop was looking for. P began a marketing blitz immediately, making sure Snoop's visibility was at an all-time high. Snoop Dogg was on every single No Limit release, no matter how big or small the artist, and was advertised in the inserts on each and every No Limit album. It was announced that Snoop Dogg's debut album for the label, Dog Game Is To Be Sold, Not To Be Told, would drop on August 4th, 1998, just months after he officially joined the tank. Cover art was rushed out, and the album was firmly placed into the assembly line-like rollout of No Limit albums. The brand was strong, and the album was guaranteed to do gangbuster numbers. The world was watching, and everyone in hip-hop was curious how this partnership would turn out. After dropping his first studio album under the No Limit label, which sold 520,000 copies first week worldwide, his next 2 albums, No Limit Top Dog and The Last Meal, were also successful. Although everything was going good for Snoop and his new label, he still had some animosity in his hometown of Los Angeles. It was said that Snoop and the whole No Limit family were set to perform at a concert at the Universal Amphitheater in California. Every rapper on the label were performing on stage, but Snoop was seen to be left behind in the green room.
I got the Hookup Comedy Jam in LA. That shit got real.
Towards the end of the show, there was a grand finale where they brought all the No Limit soldiers up on stage.
So the soldiers then went on stage. Now I'm back here talking to these Death Row niggas by myself. Nigga tried to take off on me. Whoa, he missed. I get out of there.
I'm up on the side stage, and Snoop just comes flying by him.
Master P and them get the word while they on stage.
I could see somebody, and they're telling everybody to come.
They literally ran off the stage in the middle of the performance. boom, and everybody was like running out the gate, so we run after.
DJ's got the record spinning. There's gunshots on the song, but audience doesn't know that. So now a riot is happening.
You know, you see the red shirts coming. You know, like, shit. Oh, you see that camouflage too.
After that altercation, there weren't any other mishaps that happened between Snoop and Death Row. Snoop was signed to No Limit for 5 years, and during the time of his first album release, he shot movies, went double platinum, and did tours. But after his second album release, he started to go back to his Los Angeles roots and started to work with Dr. Dre again. And after his third studio album, Master P allowed Snoop to leave without taking a percentage from his music. While signed to No Limit, Master P gave Snoop a lot of advice about the music business, and even saying once that Snoop was his best student. With Master P's support, Snoop Dogg released 3 successful albums under No Limit Records, re-establishing his career and even branching out into new ventures like acting and business. Snoop and Master P even became business partners with them, releasing a cereal brand in December of 2022 called Snoop Cereal. Over time, the bond between Master P and Snoop grew stronger, with Snoop often crediting Master P for saving his life and career. In a 2018 interview, Snoop credited Master P for what he did for him. Master P also reflected on how he played a role in helping Snoop early on in his career and posted his thoughts on the situation between Snoop and his former label, Death Row Records, and congratulating him on his ownership of Death Row, saying, "We have to stop thinking out of emotions. We all we got," he wrote in the caption. Snoop Dogg is successful, and where he's at today is because he didn't let pride stand in his way and wasn't afraid to change and grow. Salute to my brother and partner. God is good, look how God worked, now he owned that same record company.